Deborah DeBoer, the Director of Professional Development at NSBAR. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Andy Velkme, the President of NICAR, the Northern Illinois Commercial Association of Realtors, one of NSBAR's education partners. Andy's going to facilitate today's panel. Andy, if you would like to introduce the members on the panel, the topic today is What's Hot in Commercial Real Estate?
Hello, everybody. I'm Andy Velkme, the 2022 President of NICAR, here with Peter Cotsirilos, Bill Caton, and David McGowan, three very knowledgeable industry veterans who are going to be talking to us today about their experience in the commercial real estate market, and then also touching upon some subjects that may be helpful to those interested in commercial real estate. Let's start with going around the room here. And I'd like for each of you just to talk about the markets you work in and share your focus and what you're seeing in your slice of the market. We'll start with Peter. What's hot and what's not?
What's not? Peter Cotsirilos, I'm with KW Commercial, been a broker for 20 years plus. I used to be in the retail business as a retail grocer in years past. Speaking about the market, what's hot, what's not, obviously multifamily is still hot. Industrial is also hot at this moment. But office and retail are bringing up the rear. I mean, they're slowed down because of COVID with the office market, and the same with retail. Retail was hit before that because of offline sales, online sales, excuse me, and the online sales sort of hurt the retail market as far as the stores are concerned. But interestingly enough, if you look at the retail market, you see Amazon is starting to open grocery stores, and there's a reason for that. Retailers really do want people to come in the store. They want you to go back to the bricks and sticks and see the store and walk into that store. Reason being, you walk in the store, you're buying 20% more out of that store. You go online, you're going to buy some shampoo for the bathroom. You buy shampoo and that's it, you're done. So with the retailers, they want to see people in the store. So they're doing everything they can to get those people in. I know that Walmart's got online sales, but they have to do that. But even Amazon is going into the retail business as far as bricks and sticks. So I think the retail is going to be coming back a bit on that. And because there are a lot of stores that are downsizing and closing, a lot of these big boxes are being repositioned into different uses, entertainment, that type of thing. And on top of that, as far as the retail is concerned, personally, I got into the self-storage business by trying to develop the big boxes into self-storage. So we're taking converted retail and changing it. Things have changed. So as far as I'm concerned, that's what's happening with retail. Obviously, multifamily is still hot, and so is industrial.
Thanks, Peter. That's great insight. Interesting, how things kind of evolve, and then you have to make use of that opportunity and sometimes change your focus as that happens. Bill, if you can speak a little bit about what you're focusing on and what you see is hot and what's not at this point in time in the markets.
Certainly. Thank you, Andy. Pleasure to be with you gentlemen here today and our audience. I'm the CEO and founder of Caton Commercial. Our main office is here in Naperville. We've got satellites in the West Loop in Chicago, and also the second largest city in Illinois in Aurora. So from my perspective, the world is hot, as Peter already talked about. What's interesting to me is multifamily has finally taking first position over industrial. They closed a higher volume in the fourth quarter of 21 than industrial did. And I think the appetite for that sector of commercial real estate is there because of the lower risk game that they see. And there's also a need, in these areas for more housing, more affordable housing along the way. The other thing that's up but down Okay, and it depends on how you look at it, and that is cap rates. Okay, we're still seeing cap rate compression in the marketplace. In sectors, we're moving in the 6 range, 6.2, 6.4. Some of those are compressing into the mid 5s. Okay, so there's a lot of money still in the system looking for a home. Okay, and some of this, I think Peter alluded to, also is pent up. Okay, from the COVID, time in which the market wasn't moving or didn't move at all or very little, and consumers. Even with all the geopolitical thing, which I know you're going to talk about later, probably, the consumer spending is still strong. There's a lot of money still flowing. Yeah, more of it's going into your gas tank and maybe the grocery store than it was before, but consumers are still spending.
Thanks, Bill. A very interesting insight. Dave, from your perspective and what you're focusing on, please let us know what you think is hot and what's not.
Well, in a way, I feel a little bit embarrassed because I'm really not into the brokerage activities at this time. Although I'm still with Inland, still a managing broker there. With the pandemic and with the Inland closing down its building, I own the Inland Real Estate School. So I've been putting more of my time and effort into the education aspect and getting brokers into the business, talking about what brokers can do and what they can expect from both the residential and commercial segments.
Very interesting.
I'm not very much into the actual brokerage aspect.
Okay, let me ask you a question then from that perspective. If you're teaching brokers or commercial brokers to be, what do you see as their kind of most requested focus? Where's most of the conversation? Are people looking to join the industry because of the rush on on industrial real estate? Are they interested in multifamily, retail? Or do you see kind of a cross section of that? Curious on that.
Yeah, ironically, lately, in the last couple of years, more of my students have actually been asking about opportunity in the commercial realm. And when I would question, okay, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to do industrial? Are you looking to do office, retail? Or are you looking to do a multifamily? They honestly don't know, but they hear that commercial is a viable candidate, a viable place for them to get into. And due to the fact that many of them have gone through a forced change in their job employment, they need to find another way to bring some monies into the family. And people have been talking about real estate and they keep hearing this and they see commercial maybe as the venue for them. And that's when I tell them you need to sit down and talk to a good commercial managing broker. You got to really understand what you're getting into and the impact it has before you make a commitment to it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself getting discouraged and possibly just leaving the business. I see that too happen.
Thank you. Yeah, that actually kind of speaks to my next question. And I'm going to go into a speed round here. I'll ask a question and give you each about, 20 to 30 seconds to answer. But you already alluded to it as the pandemic's changed some things. Perhaps there's more people entering the realtor profession, commercial real estate profession as part of that great resignation. People looking to leave one job and find another that is something where they control a little bit more of their time. That being said, I'm going to ask each of you in 30 seconds to give me the highlight or the top kind of answer that comes to mind. How did the pandemic change your business over the last 2 years? Peter, we'll start with you.
Good question. Yeah. When the pandemic came about, everybody was questioning what's going to happen in the market. And it turns out that as far as investment sales and commercial real estate, it broke all records. The commercial sales topped $640 billion. And the highest one before that was 600, maybe 30 billion. So over the years, it's topped it. So it's price all as far as how COVID affected us.
Okay, so it's actually truth that chaos sometimes does cause opportunity, and their opportunity has to be taken. So great. Bill, same question. In about 30 seconds, what's the main thing you saw as a change due to the pandemic?
Well, it changed everything, but I know that's not what you want. Okay, it changed the way all of our brokers' daily routine. It forced us to learn faster, It moved our technology forward. It made us less reliant on our office space. We were growing to the point where we thought we'd have to go into more office space. But now we know that we have to rethink that office space, and we really don't need more office space. We just have to figure out how we can keep the culture that we had going in our company whenever we have people, scattered and working at home, okay, all the time. So from that management aspect of a brokerage house, that's what it changed. In terms of how we interacted with the consumers, and what happened to the consumers, all the face-to-face, of course, stopped, okay? And we jumped on and did Zoom calls. And that allowed us to free up our kind of box that we were in before, in that, our territories now became larger. We're talking to people across the world. We can do business faster than what we did before and easier. I can save on the gas now that it's close to $4 a gallon, and choose and select who need to be there. At the same time, there's a new kind of passion about getting together and networking, all right? Because we've reevaluated how important it is to be face-to-face and communication with people. So it was more than 30 seconds, but a lot of change.
I was going to say, yeah, definitely a long 30 seconds, but at the same time, there's so much change that to put it in 30 seconds is probably impossible. With that in mind, Dave, I'd like to hear from you how the pandemic changed things for you from an educational standpoint. Was there an increase, as you mentioned already, in interested future brokers, and just talk a little bit about, the pandemic's influence in the last 2 years on your way of doing what you do.
It's caused a lot of people to learn to educate themselves differently. I still get people that call me on the phone. The other day, someone called and said, "Oh, first question, are you doing live in class?" No, Inland has decided to keep its building closed to visitors now, at least through May. So I have to do everything via Zoom. And I still have some individuals say, "I don't like Zoom. I don't like the computer. I don't even know how to use a computer." And they hung up on me. But it's opened the door. And I'm realizing, and I take a poll of my students, why are you getting into the business? And many of them are saying, "Well, my job is sketchy. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stay with it. I need to get a full-time job. I want to get into something where I now have control over my future." And that's what they're looking at. So more of the students that I have in class are actually looking to do a job change. And that's where I bring up the commercial aspect.
Okay.
As an opportunity for them to be able to do something. Because when I talk about things, and I don't know if you guys will agree to this or not, in commercial, it's a function of the pocketbook. We deal with investors and they think about how much money they're going to make. Residential, it's an emotion. And more people tend to kind of relate to the pocketbook, where a commercial could be a venue for them to create a career and have control over their life.
Yeah, I've used that term math versus feelings before. Commercial's about math, residential is more about feelings. So yeah, thank you very much, Dave.
Just piggyback on that for a second,
Sure.
Andy, and that is, I have, as Andy, I grew up in the residential world. I had 8 offices residential and 2 commercial, and your analysis, Kate, is correct. And the thing that I think that commercial brokers sometimes forget is that people are logical and go after the statistics, Kate, and the non-emotional first, but it's the emotional that makes the sale. Okay. And so it's applying that emotion at the right time by asking the right questions. Okay. So it gets down to what is the real pain of your client, whether it's a buyer or seller, because that pain is emotional and not logical, but you have to attract them and hold them with the logic.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, that's a very astute observation. That's how you close a deal, right? Through that last part. You know, the math gets you there and makes you understand it, but to close it, you need to go past those numbers.
Correct.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to jump to a different part of the conversation now. And I want to talk a little bit about some subjects that could be helpful to those who are considering a career in commercial real estate or want to dabble in commercial real estate, you know, aimed at the more residential realtor. Let's each of you mention or discuss in some detail what you like to read every day and why. And why do you read those sources on an everyday basis? Peter, we'll start with you.
Okay, right now we're into self-storage development. So I've tended to read every day something about self-storage. That's what my one thing is right now. In the past, I've read association papers. I go to the associations to get education. I mean, as far as getting things from Google, it could go so much, but joining associations, you'll get a lot of information from other people you network with. Also, what they publish. It's what you have interest in at the time. If it's an industrial, join an industrial association, become one of the members, and get all the information they have. If you want to learn about industrial sales or industrial rentals or tenant representatives, that's what I use. I tend to go toward the associations. I join associations to get their periodicals. I also, as a CCIM, I follow CCIM a lot. You know, I follow them as far as what interests me and what is coming out of the CCIM network.
That's great advice. Bill, same question to you. What do you read every day?
So time is my only commodity that I really have in this business, and I need to really, put my time in the right place. So I try to use sources that have already distilled down the information to me. And for my business aspect, we have someone in our company that posts every day the biz now. Okay, what you need to know today in Chicagoland. I scan that. Okay, as many days as I possibly can, and I sometimes go back on the weekends and look at the ones I didn't, so I can pull those out. And also following up on Peter, the associations. I'm going to put a plug in for our association, NICAR. Okay, every Monday morning, okay, they have related commercial articles that they put out, and they have an algorithm set up there that so when you start clicking on certain things that are of your interest, they then find more things of your interest. So they help me in my very limited time to zero on the things that I'm important, okay, that are important to me with the limited time I have to read. And then from there, it's meeting people, movers and shakers in the industry, okay? Going to MIPIM in France, okay, or going to C5 in New York City, attending an NAR convention in November.
I think you read my mind, because the next question is going to be about networking and how come that's important as a commercial broker. So we're going to come back and dive a little bit deeper there. But Dave, what do you read and what do you suggest to those who are new to the industry to read if they want a little bit more information to dive a little bit deeper into the commercial real estate world?
Well, for me, what I start off with is I want to see where the economics are. I want to see where the marketplace is going. I look at the stock market, how it's progressing, how it's changing, the impact it's going to have. I'm watching right now oil prices and how this is going to have an impact, because they're talking this morning, or they were talking about the fact that with the pricing going up here in Chicago, average $4.66 a gallon. Consumers are going to start pulling back on spending time in the car. And we've seen in the past that when these kinds of events have occurred, it alters people's buying habits because it alters where people are willing to go to. Time when Yorkville was a very hot market, Yorkville got very cold because nobody wanted to drive out that far anymore. So I want to see where the trends in the marketplace are going, not just in the real estate realm, but in the financial climate as well. As I have a strong suspicion that is going to help mold the thought patterns that people are going to have going into the very near future.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that assessment. And yeah, the financial world drives commercial real estate and vice versa. They go hand in hand. In fact, on an institutional level, it seems like sometimes most of the conversations are more about the finance and the banking than the actual physical real estate itself. Let's jump now to that next question that Bill somehow had the foresight to know I was going to ask. And I'll start with Bill on that one. But is networking important to you as a commercial broker? Why? And what would you suggest as great networking events and or conferences to attend?
I'll continue with giving you an analogy. Is it important to breathe air? Okay. If you're in commercial real estate, it's important that you network. Okay. And you find those individuals, okay, that can be mentors to you, because if they are successful in what they're doing, okay, they also have got there because they have talked and rode on the backs of somebody else or had a mentor and mentee. And you'll find many of these people are very approachable, and they're willing to give you some time to help steer you and guide you, okay, in what you're going to do. So finding that mover and shaker and that mentor. Where do you find them? You just got to get out there and go to the crowd and mix them, okay, and meet with them. If I want to talk to people that are interested in international business, okay, which is a passion of mine, I need to go international, all right, or travel to New York City to C5. Recently, okay, as yesterday, our company had our first annual State of the Office meeting in person in 2 years. All right. And some of those people, I saw them on Zoom all that time, but it's a difference whenever you meet them in person and talk to them again. There's a different conversation. There's a different communication. So just press the flesh, get out there, be a sponge, absorb, find a mentor.
Great advice. Peter, to you. What do you think?
As far as networking is concerned, yes, it's the most important thing as far as brokerages. As president-elect of NICAR, I believe NICAR has been a godsend to me as far as networking is concerned. I attended an event yesterday, and I made 6 contacts with bankers and construction people. And not only that, I think Bill Caton and I are doing a deal right now.
Yes.
Because of NICAR, that's how we met.
Yeah.
I think with NICAR, as far as NSBAR members are concerned, I think it's great to go to the NICAR events in order to network the people who are really into the commercial world. So if you're interested in getting into the commercial world, I would suggest NICAR, I would suggest CCIM, which I am also. And like I said before, the associations, those things are things you should go to, meet people and learn. That's so important. So yes, networking is number one as far as brokerage is concerned, and learning about the commercial world.
Thanks, Peter. And I will piggyback on what you just mentioned too, and let the NSBAR members know that for NICAR in April, we'll be having a luncheon focused on Earth Day. So it'll be sustainability and things that are green around commercial real estate, including solar and other hot topics. And then in May, we'll be doing something more along the legal lines when it comes to our luncheon. And then in June, we're going to have a happy hour that's going to be focused on more of the political advocacy and the government affairs angle. All 3 of those things are clearly hot topics in real estate. And for NSBAR members who want to meet some NICAR members, find that mentor that Bill's alluding to, and get educated, as Peter mentioned, those are great events to attend. Sorry for the plug there, but I felt it was the right time. Dave, I'm going to go to you now. What do you think from a networking standpoint? How important is it? And where do you recommend people start?
From day one, networking has always been important to me. And that's how you build your business, by having this network, not just of people in the real estate industry, but in other industries as well that can relate. In my classes, from day one, because I talk about how I got into the business and how poorly I was set up by the managing broker, that you got to network, you got to build this connection with people, other brokers, other buyers and sellers. And I agree with you 100%. That's why NICAR exists, to create this venue where we have the ability to talk to each other, to network with each other. I'd like to see us get more commercial brokers involved, because the more that we can rely on each other, talk to each other, learn from each other. Even though I've been in this business now almost 50 years, just talking to all three of you is going to give me some added insight in what can be done to better enhance what we're going to do. And I can then take that insight and then give that to other people as direction what they should do as well. I'm 100%. That is why NICAR is here. That's why I come back to NICAR. So I want that networking aspect. I live by myself, guys, and I feel like I'm living in a tomb. I want to be around people. And that's the basis for networking.
So can I piggyback on that again, Andy? And that is,
Sure, go for it.
so, we're talking about networking within our industry. I think it's equally important. It's always been a philosophy of our company and myself that if you live and work in a community, you need to give back to the community. You need to network in your community, right? Become part of the community and participate in those things that you find are passions for you, all right? And you're doing it not to get something, but you're doing it to give back and be a blessing to somebody. And those kinds of networking will come back to you tenfold.
That's great advice. And Bill, you're absolutely right about that. And, becoming part of your community, knowing people, knowing the municipalities. I've been in Plainfield with Bill, and I think everyone who walks by knows who you are and says, oh, and says hi. And it's a perfect thing, because end of the day, you want people to kind of think of you as the resource for commercial real estate, create that brand identity, and then also that geographic know-how. So those are very, very valid points. And one thing, Dave, I wanted to mention too, actually kind of incorporates what Peter said as well, but from the education standpoint, the people standpoint, I can't remember a single time I've done an education event where I didn't meet somebody that I still have in my network, meaning I did CCIM 101. And I think I have about 10 contacts still from that class that we became friends during that week. And we became, business referral sources. Same thing with IR when I did the leadership class. I still hold each one of those individuals I did the class with as a great referral source and a friend. You spend that time, CIPS, Bill, when you organize the first ever business commercial focused CIPS class, we had a group of 20 together, and that became a little bit of an alumni club about international real estate after that. People would touch base and check in. So those education events become networking events, and then it becomes part of your larger network that I think going forward is so very important. So that's great.
Every opportunity you have for education to leave Midwest and go to Canada for a CCIM class, or to go to Arizona or MIPIM in France, the further away you go, the richer your networking will become and building your client sphere.
Exactly. And for those who aren't aware, CIPS is an international accreditation that NAR offers, Certified International Property Specialist, and CCIM is an investment member accreditation that requires intense classes, but they're fantastic. And that's more if you're in the investment side of things or want to be. So, for those who aren't familiar, CIPS and CCIM, two great things to look at. Dave, you were about to say something.
No, I was just agreeing 100%. You got to take that step forward. You can't hold yourself back. And if there's an opportunity where you can meet additional people, learn something new, no matter where you go, you'll always have the opportunity to learn something. You just have to be open-minded enough to accept it.
Great. We only have a few minutes left here, and I'm going to ask you one very important question, and I want you all to try your best to stick to a minute or less, maybe even 45 seconds. But here's the question. Many commercial brokers are not realtors, yet you are. Why? What benefit do you derive from being a realtor and from a NICAR or NSBAR membership? Who wants to go first?
Let me take
Brian, go ahead.
All right. I'm going to say that you, as a professional, there is no better organization that monitors our profession, all right, and protects our property rights of not just our clients, okay, but everything else. Every law or something that comes out that affects commercial real estate, okay, the association, or we call it RPAC, gets involved with. We need to stay there. And on top of that, it's a recognized worldwide system of ethical people doing business in real estate.
And my answer is going to be all of you. This is why I'm part of Chicago Board. This is why I'm now part of NICAR. It's because the connection you make by all of these individuals with a mindset similar to what we all have. We look at this organization as being the basis for helping to improve our profession, give us insight, give us direction, and more importantly, like we were just talking about, networking. With all these commercial brokers that don't join, I think a lot of them are misguided to the extent that, at least a few that I've spoken with, they said, we don't have to be part of the MLS. Well, you don't have to be part of the MLS, but be a part of this community of like-minded commercial brokers to help increase what you can do, what you can learn, and increase business opportunities. That's the real key here, building this network, this brotherhood.
Excellent. Excellent. Couldn't agree more.
I agree.
Peter.
I agree with that. I mean, as far as the be a realtor, I use this in my brokerage business as far as marketing products. If I was not a realtor, if I didn't belong to the MLS, I wouldn't have access to thousands and thousands of agents throughout Chicagoland. If I only marketed to commercial brokers who were not realtors, that would be a lot less people that I would reach. So I use the MLS for my brokerage business because I reach thousands of brokers who are either doing commercial and residential or doing residential alone. Might be have a client looking for some commercial property, and there's thousands of those people out there. So I use that in my marketing. The MLS I use that as part of my marketing. Also, just being part of the NAR is like they were saying is education wise, it's outstanding. As a matter of fact, right now I'm on the NAR website. It has a lot of information on commercial. You can go on there, and we were talking about cap rates before. I'm looking at this right now. Cap rates in 2019 are close to what they are right now. As a matter of fact, apartment cap rates at 6%, they're at 5% now. Retail cap rates 7%, they're 7% now. They're 7% in 2019. I'm getting information right now out of NAR. So this for me is marketing, networking, and information. I think it means a lot, and all brokers, I believe, should be part of the NIR group.
Thanks, Peter. So to those NSBAR members who are watching this and want to know what a cap rate is, that's one good reason to reach out to us, because you may not know. Secondarily, we're more than happy to talk to you formally or informally about the commercial real estate industry. You know, we will have education events, we'll have education courses, networking events, and we are here for you as NICAR, as your strategic partner, to help you with all things commercial real estate. So thank you all today, Peter, Bill, Dave. It's been a fantastic conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you all soon. Thank you.
Have a great afternoon and great weekend, everyone.
You too.
Thank you to Andy and to our panelists. You'll find this video on our website. Look for more commercial programming during the upcoming year.